Hello there, my name's Tom Wiggins.
And I am Emily Elias, and this is Desert Island Dips, the podcast where we pit condiment against condiment in some form of weird six condiment-based cage battle and say, hey, what top 5 of you should go through to the mystical island with the cupboard? And I've lost my train of thought.
That's some serious ad-libbing off the script there, which we are continuing with. Come on, just finish it off.
Okay, and then into the ring comes ketchup, brown sauce, English mustard, sriracha, and ajika. And they're going to try and tag team against today's contender, bread sauce.
We can't do that for every episode.
No, this is one-off.
That's a special Christmas intro for everyone.
Keeping it fresh. Keeping it fresh for episode 30.
But I do have to point out that tag team is just 2 people, and that was 5.
Yeah, but they could be like a 5-person tag team against a single guy, so they're really going to beat up.
I think tag team specifically refers to 2. Sorry. This week, you're right, we are talking about bread sauce, which I don't think they use it in the marketing for bread sauce, but it is the, I believe, only Christmas condiment that dogs can't eat.
Really?
Yeah, which I think they should make a bigger deal of because...
I think there should be like more public service announcements about what condiments dogs can and cannot eat. Why can't a dog eat it?
Well, we're doing it now, aren't we?
Well...
there should be more.
There should be more.
We should be doing it more. This is the obvious place to do them.
There should be Tom Cruise telling me about how my TV works. And
P.S. Dogs can't eat bread sauce.
Why can't dogs eat bread sauce?
Apparently, dogs find it hard to digest lactose. And also, this is a spoiler for something coming up. It's normally got onions in it. It has got onions in it, which dogs can't eat.
Fun.
Like chocolate.
So I've got like the same dietary restrictions as a dog.
Can you not eat onions?
No, well, I can eat onions, but
right,
I can't do dairy.
The dairy is a problem.
So maybe this is just like the universe's way of saying, hey, Emily, it is time to get a dog.
Here's some, because you'd just be so similar.
Yeah, we can just be pals together, not eating lactose.
Here's some Christmas condiment information for both you and dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Cranberry sauce is fine. Don't have too much, though. And make it nothing else in it. Just make sure it's just pure cranberry sauce. You'll be okay with that. According to a book called Sauces, A Global History, which may have come up before. I've certainly looked at pages of it before while researching episodes. It's by someone called Mary Ann Tebben. Bread sauce's ancestor is something called frumenty.
What?
Frumenty. I think I'm saying it right. It sounds weird, doesn't it?
German-ish or something.
Very, very English, I believe. It was a sort of 14th century peasant's favourite meal. I've ascribed that to them. I don't know if it was their favourite, but they certainly ate it.
They ate it.
Yeah. A porridge dish made from boiled wheat, milk, and egg yolks.
I can see that selling at a pret-a-manger.
In the peasant pret-a-manger.
Yes.
Peasant-a-manger.
Peasant-a-manger.
That was the problem with this being for peasants is that what they used to eat it with, mainly venison, but apparently also sometimes porpoise.
Where are they getting porpoises from?
I don't know that we ever ate porpoise.
What?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? How did that fall out of fashion, but venison still sort of sticks around?
Is this because of, like, the Thames was just crawling with porpoises? Like, you know how one...
Porpoises, porpoise? I'm just making funny noises. Porpoises, probably is porpoises.
But do you remember, I feel like...
Or just porpoise, like sheep, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I feel like once every 5 years or so, there's like a porpoise spotted in the Thames.
It's normally a dolphin, isn't it?
I don't know. It's like a fish that shouldn't be there. A big fish.
The fish that shouldn't be there. That's a book.
Trademark.
Coming out soon. So frumenty, eaten with your porpoise, is a sort of ancestor to bread sauce. But essentially what's happened is that ever since medieval times, people started using breadcrumbs to thicken up their sauces that they were making.
That makes sense.
You're having a gravy or something, it needs thickening, so they put breadcrumbs in it. Partly I like this, partly because people used to eat, rather than having plates that we have now, or even wooden ones, they would have these things were called trenchers, which were basically plates made of bread. So you would put your food on the plate. Like a bread bowl that you get now, but a plate version.
Oh, I love a bread bowl.
So
I don't understand why we don't have more bread bowls.
Why don't we have more trenchers as well?
Because when you go and have a soup, yeah, Stop. Let's help the environment out. Just
eat
give it to
everything.
me in a straight bread
Yeah.
bowl. Love it.
Not just soups, I think. Sort of all meals should be served in some sort of edible container.
I agree.
Stop the waste.
Yeah.
Not that I throw away all my plates at the end of the meal. It's not really wasted. I do wash them up and use them again.
But did you know the Victorians did do that? So when
They throw away the plates?
yeah, so they would get
Mental.
for them, a takeaway meal would come on like a china plate, or not like a china plate, but like a ceramic plate.
Victorian Deliveroo.
Yeah. And then when they were done with it, they would just throw it over their shoulders into the river. So if you go mudlarking, which I have done on several occasions,
you find bits of plates.
you'll find tons of bits of plates and tons of little like cigarette butt type things, like little ceramic cigarette pipes. Because they just used to use the river as their like...
As a bin.
Basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes.
So they're using trenchers to eat off. And obviously if you're eating off something that's made of bread, you can't have a sauce on it that's going to seep into it and make it all soggy. And,
Sure, you got to be careful.
Your dinner time could go very wayward if that happens, right? So you need to make sure that the sauces are thick enough that they will just kind of sit on top. So they would use breadcrumbs to thicken stuff up. There's another 14th century food stuff that they eat that I quite like the sound of. It seems like a precursor to bread sauce. This was a sauce made of toasted bread, cardamom, cloves, nutmeg, pepper, ginger, cinnamon, and vinegar.
Well, that sounds nice.
It does sound quite nice. And my favourite thing, you could keep it for half a year. Which, in those times seems like the sort of thing that would be difficult to make,
Does it
things
have a
that last
name?
that long. No, I don't think so. Not that I could see.
I could definitely, if that was at Peasant Manger,
Yep.
I would definitely,
Have that
yeah.
instead of Fumanti or whatever it's called.
Well, I mean, probably with it. Like, it'd be like,
Depends
you
what
know,
you're
when you
having, doesn't
get,
it?
yeah, like in the baked goods section at the front or near the coffees, you could have that, like, let's call it Tom's cake for easiness. You could have a fun Tom's cake there and
Okay.
be like, num, num, num.
It's a lovely sauce that keeps for half a year. Brilliant.
Oh, sorry, it was a sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like a cake.
No, I think it's a sauce.
Oh, well then that's impressive.
Mm.
Half a year.
Yeah. Which, when you think about, I mean, it's got vinegar and stuff in it. So, a lot of
Sure.
the sauces we talked about keep for quite a long time, partially because of the vinegar and things. So, but I'm thinking that in those days, things would rot within seconds. So this is impressive. Well done.
Faster than they rot now.
Well done them. Yeah. Also, using bread was a way of using up stale bread. You can't keep it for as long as you can now. You can't put it in the freezer. So people would look for other ways to use it. We have a number of desserts because of this, including bread pudding.
I'm familiar.
Didn't really think too hard with the name for that one.
No.
Something called apple charlotte, which I've
never heard of.
Never heard of, but again uses bread, and summer pudding, which is similar sort of thing.
Is it
They
like,
all use old bread.
what's summer pudding? Is it like bread
I think
pudding
that's
with
like
fun?
a bread pudding with fun summer
berries?
fruits in the middle. Yeah. But they're essentially all invented because they were like, we've got this stale bread. What can we do with it? Turn it into a fun pudding.
I respect the ingenuity from somebody who has bread go stale often because
Who doesn't? If
it's
I find
loaf, and I'm one person.
if I find someone who's eating all their bread, I wonder, are you having too much bread?
I would love to find somebody who eats an entire loaf of bread in date who isn't like a family. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're in a family situation or like a communal housing situation where like 4 flatmates share the same bread, sure, you can like get through that thing. But if you were like a single person eating a loaf of bread,
and
half of it's gonna go stale.
And the last few, I'd say the last like 5 or more slices are not having to be toasted because that will, that extends the life a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But so what is bread sauce exactly? Because it's not really the kind of thing, you can't kind of juice it, can you? A loaf.
I don't know. I've got a magic bullet in the cupboard we can try.
Basically, it's very simple. You take some milk, you heat it up with an onion. You take an onion, you stick cloves in the onion. You put that in the milk and you heat it all up. That sort of infuses the milk with the flavours from the onion and the cloves. You take the onion out. You add the breadcrumbs, some nutmeg. You heat it up, keep heating it, and it thickens up basically. Then you put some butter in, bit of seasoning, and you're done. So a very simple, not many ingredients, peasant friendly, as we said, and there you go.
I could totally see why a dog / Emily Elias would not
Would
be
not
able
like
to
that.
digest it. That is like a dairy Festiva sauce.
Yep, basically. It's difficult to see exactly how it became to be associated with Christmas. Sometimes people just don't write these things down. There wasn't a peasant book back in the day where they could record everything that happened in day-to-day life.
Like a history book.
No, like Facebook, but for peasants. They definitely were history books. Well, it was
Peasant
definitely. I mean, that's sort of what Facebook is.
For us plebs.
Yeah. So it was, as I said, it was associated with venison, but it seemed to, I think, become more associated with poultry, because they become more popular. They're cheaper meats. This, the normal plebs can't eat venison every weekend. And there was a thing that I read. Charles Dickens comes up actually brief in a minute, and apparently the Christmas meat has changed over the years.
Yeah.
It wasn't always turkey. It was like goose and other stuff. So we talked before in the mint sauce episode about how it became to be associated with lamb because of the flavors matching or going well together. And
Elizabeth I putting her foot down and being like, if you're going to eat lamb, you got to eat it with mint sauce.
Yeah. I feel like similar things happened here, it would seem. Bread sauce gets associated with turkey. Turkey eating goes up at Christmas time. And then you've just got that. It just sort of happens. It's a happy accident, basically, that they're associated. They come together. There's another book that I found from 1832 called The Cook's Own Book by someone called Mrs. N.K.M. Lee. No actual first names ever given here. It's just initials. That says it, like specifically says you must have bread sauce with turkey. Now, the only problem with this is she was from Boston.
Like Massachusetts?
Yeah. But that is a part of the states that has got a very strong British influence. So I feel like it's not completely
foreign,
taking
like
us in
New
the wrong
England.
direction. Yeah. There's an argument that I've also seen that says bread sauce is just basically better suited to Christmas dinner than cranberry even, because cranberry's nice with your turkey.
Mm-hmm.
But with the other things, not always. I feel like it's sort of specific to the turkey, whereas bread sauce, you could argue, it goes with everything on that plate.
I don't know if I'm qualified to say anything about
you've never
this.
had it.
I've never had
Yeah.
it. Like, I don't know if this is more of a British phenomenon, even though there clearly, if you just mentioned, there's like a strong North American tie to it.
Yeah.
But I've never had bread sauce ever. And I grew up in a weird hybrid house of Canadian Englishness.
It's never been part of my Christmas tradition either.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it a north-south thing?
Don't think so.
Like, people up north don't have bread sauce more than people in the south of England?
I don't think it is. I think it just depends.
Who's more in
on your
touch with their
household.
Victorian roots?
Yeah. Which families are more medieval, basically.
Yeah.
It's very easy to make. It's cheap.
Mhm.
Not just for those who can afford cranberries. Are cranberries expensive?
I think, like, if you're talking from scratch,
Yeah.
I think
Well-
cranberry sauce is a bit more of like a production to make, just
Yeah.
because it's more of like in the jellied kind of family.
Yeah.
Whereas like this sounds as like a home cook, you could just easily whip it up.
Well, this brings me very nicely onto my main point here.
It's like I knew where you're going.
Yeah. Is it really a condiment? Can you remember what the condiments are?
People ask me this question all of the time, and I usually get like 3 that I need help on the 4th. You wouldn't eat it with the spoon by itself. Number 1.
Is that the first one in the list?
I didn't think there was like a specific order of the condiments. I didn't get etched in stone.
I've specified a number here.
Okay, fine.
That is number 2.
Okay, fine. It enhances the flavor of something else.
Optional, not required.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's number 1. Number 3
is that it's okay. Tom Wiggins is miming, and it looks like he just like gave a giant a fun time in a weird sexual way.
I was miming to the waiter. Could I have some more of a particular condiment.
But the way you're holding that
Then
bottle.
I'm putting it on. What? That's how you hold bottles. It's number 3 is, do you get it for free with a meal?
Fine.
Which you would do, bread sauce. What I'm specifically referring to is condiment number 4.
Is it shelf stable?
Can it be bought? I mean, it says in a bottle in a shop, but I think through doing this, we've realised that bottle, it doesn't need to say bottle. It just needs to say, can it be bought in a container in a shop? Now, what we, I think, would both agree here is that refers to something that is ready to eat when you buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Every other single condiment we've done here on this podcast has been you've been able to buy it in a shop, and then if you want to, although it would go against the rules, just pour it straight into your mouth, right? Is that fair?
Yes, there's been a component of convenience shopping to it.
Ready to eat. So on the face of it, this bread sauce is, it does adhere to these. You can buy it in a shop. However, it's not sold ready to eat. It's sold in a packet that you have to add the milk to make it. So I feel like it just about adheres to this, but it not quite in the spirit of it.
See, here's my argument. I'll counter this. Devil's avocado, as I like to say. Is it just because it contains a lot of dairy, and so therefore you wouldn't want it on the shelf, and they could easily come up with a scientific-y way to use like a long life milk or whatever to make it last longer? Or is it just because like there's no market for it? Like is
Limited,
it like
probably.
Is it such a niche condiment that people aren't necessarily demanding it year round, and so like we don't have like a big Heinz or Coleman's or whoever championing it to like put it on the shelves?
I think it is particularly seasonal. I mean, cranberry sauce is very seasonal as well, but like, it seems that there's obviously enough demand for it that it's available, and it must,
and it's not going bad if they could just keep it parked on the shelf.
Sauce in other things.
Yeah, you can use it in like cooking or like baking or something like that. You might be needing it for a recipe.
Whereas bread sauce is sort of very specific to that roast turkey. Not many people seem to eat turkey outside of Christmas time either.
Not my house. We do.
Okay.
We tend to eat a lot of like turkey steaks because they're out of the regular season. They're quite cheap, and it's like a nice like non-chicken but still basically chicken kind of protein. Like it's.
And you got the turkey breast and ham at Subway, of course.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, if you do, it's not that it's got no demand at all, because if you Google bread sauce, you get loads and loads of recipes for how to make it. But that's probably the other thing, that because it's so simple to make and probably a lot nicer, I've never had the packet one, then there's no real huge demand to sell it in that form. So it's not that the sauce isn't in demand, it's the overly simplified way of consuming it is probably not that highly demanded.
But okay, so can I just like, again, devil's avocado?
Yeah.
You don't eat it at a holiday meal. I don't eat it at a holiday meal.
No. Well, no one eats it.
I'm gonna say that like we can't be alone in this.
No.
John Lyons, you know him, you love him. I married him. You went to school with him and maintained a friendship with him for the past 20 years.
He played the theme tune to our podcast.
Yes, thank you for our theme tune to our podcast.
We need to thank him for again. We haven't done it for a while.
Don't you just love that theme tune?
I sometimes just listen to it and then turn off the episode.
You and a lot of people. No. Kidding. John Lyons, wonderful guy. He described eating. He's like, "Oh, have you had bread sauce before?" And I said no. And then he's like, "Okay, it basically tastes like you gave bread to a baby and they spat it up." And then you're eating sort of like this regurgitated baby sick.
That sounds like he's had not very good bread sauce, but yeah.
That was his review of bread sauce. And he tends to be my cultural marker for everything British.
I've always, I mean, I've never been hugely mad on things that are made of bread. Because it seems like, I'm not talking about sandwiches, but like anything, as the things we discussed there, the bread pudding and stuff, it just makes me think you've just like got some bread and it's now stodgy bread
You're trying to save it. You're trying to
Like,
trick
what
me
are you?
into eating
Yeah,
it.
surely there's a better way to make this. And I think maybe bread sauce is. I feel like the same way about it.
Can I?
When bread goes all wet,
Mm-hmm.
it's horrible, isn't it?
That's, I think, the analogy he was trying to get with.
Yeah. I mean, just generally, like a wet bit of bread, uh, it's just not very nice.
Can I say
And I
another?
know it's more than that, but
Can I say another thing about it?
yeah.
Okay, so like, envision your holiday meal right in front of you,
Mhm.
right? So in your traditional English holiday meal, you've already got a bread product that is stuffing,
Mhm.
or Americans would call it dressing. I don't understand why.
That's weird. Yeah.
I know, whatever. But you have your stuffing on your plate. That's like very bready. You got your Yorkshire pudding,
Bready.
pretty bready, like
Mm.
battery bread, like, you know,
Turkey can be quite dry, which is another quality of bread.
right?
Dryness.
Dryness. But I'm just kind of like, I feel like I've already got two solid bread components on the plate that I don't need to add another. And I would more opt for like a gravy as opposed to like a bread sauce. And I think that's where maybe the bread sauce falls down in its popularity
Yeah.
on the table.
You're sort of trying to moisten something with something that is inherently dry.
Yeah. And it's like if you had the choice between gravy and bread sauce to do that function, like as a carnivore, what are you going to pick?
It's gravy all the way for me.
Yeah.
And gravy's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, the love
Let's have
letters
a-
I write to gravy, my dreams.
Let's have a moment's silence for gravy.
I'm planning on having 4 holiday gravies.
What, different ones?
Yeah. So I have like a sachet of gravy from a Canadian chain called Swiss Chalet. That's been sitting in the cupboard since our last trip to Canada, breaking
Okay.
that out. I'm going to go to KFC, get some of that gravy in there. Then I'm going to make a gravy from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other gravy, I'm thinking, well, I've just found out that Nando's does gravy.
Does it?
Nando's is introducing a gravy in the UK,
Is it peri-peri gravy?
a peri-peri gravy, so I was
Blimey.
going to try it, even just for the sake of... So I've got too much gravy on my plate.
Almost literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's probably fairly clear that this is not going to make it onto the island. I mean, we will celebrate Christmas on the island, but I just think maybe that we can make do without any of the Christmas condiments.
No. I mean, like, I appreciate cranberry sauce
Mhm.
much more than I appreciate...
We're not here to reevaluate cranberry sauce, are we? We've done
But-
that, and it didn't go on.
It did go on for a little bit of
Did it go
time
on
because
briefly?
it was the 4th
Because
episode.
early in the run.
Yeah.
You lucky cranberry sauce. You got there.
He-
Well, okay, well, I say we've done cranberry sauce, and it is no longer on the island.
Yeah.
It has been pushed off.
But, like, cranberry sauce, again, has more of a use to me than
Mhm.
bread sauce does. I don't know.
Of course, you
Like-
can't eat bread sauce. You're like a dog.
I am
We've
a
been
dog.
through this. There's no way you can. It would be a complete waste of a slot.
I'm trying to, like, argue in,
Don't
like, a
need to.
flattering way for it. Because, like, I don't... If you eat bread sauce, please get in touch with us. Because I'm very curious. The way you described it, I understand, like, the consistency is for a meal. But I kind of think it would be more appetizing as a breakfast. With, like, if you were to put, like, some raisins, like peasant pret-manger, if you put, like, you know, some form of, like, dried
Eat it
fruit.
like a porridge.
Yeah, and some honey, and then you were just, like, on your way eating your stale pret-a-manger bread.
I think it might be because it's thick, but it's not that thick. It
Yeah.
would probably be more like a sort of festive Christmas smoothie.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, that's not very nice, is it?
I had
Sort of disgusted myself.
a question. This actually came into my mind. Sorry, this is totally off topic.
That's fine.
You know eggnog?
Yep.
I'm not a fan.
No.
Are you a fan?
No.
Okay. But what if you made pancakes out of eggnog?
Like a sort of booze pancake. You mean?
Yeah, like if you were to like take this sort of like eggnoggy thing, add in some like flour and baking powder and some salt, and then make an eggnog based pancake. I don't know. I think maybe you could turn it around.
Would the heating of it
Make it
have it
taste
be a problem? I don't know.
well because you'd use the eggnog like the milk or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, because alcohol has got different.
Not all eggnog has alcohol in it.
Well, it's not proper eggnog if it hasn't, right?
Well, the one you buy at the grocery store doesn't have alcohol in it. You could add the alcohol later if you feel like you want to be risque.
Do you know what? If you put eggnog into Google, the third suggested search is eggnog bread pudding.
It's almost like somebody thought of this.
Yeah.
Could you make an eggnog bread sauce then?
Don't see why not. Sounds like they're close enough to each other.
See, this is why it's probably a good thing that I can't eat dairy, because I would just do
Imagine the weird stuff you'd come out.
If anybody out there would like to make eggnog pancakes or an eggnog bread sauce and report back, I'd be very curious in your findings.
Well, yeah, but you'd have to just take their word for what it was like, because you wouldn't be able to eat it, right?
Yeah, but I trust reviews that are posted on the internet all the time.
Yeah,
I make
true.
a lot of stupid decisions based off of reviews. Some of them you've even written.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I look at your product reviews and I go, no, Wiggins didn't like those headphones.
No, rubbish. So, not on the island. Sorry, bread sauce. Maybe our society has modernised beyond bread sauce. Perhaps?
I think we have taken a lot of steps since bread sauce. Like, workhouses don't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What other things
The workhouse of the condiment world, is that what you're saying? What we would do...
Like, we're not eating gruel anymore,
No.
and bread sauce kind of sounds like a few steps away from gruel.
But the weird thing is we would both like... what were they called? The bread plates. We would like those back, wouldn't we? So
bread bowl in a heartbeat. You know, in Canada...
trenches.
Trenches, as you would call them.
We want those back. No, I didn't name them that. That's
No,
what they're called.
Wait, would you call it a trench, like, in UK society? Would you just go out and be like, would you call it a bread bowl, or would you call it a trench?
Well, no, they're different. A trencher is a plate version, not a bowl version.
But, like, okay, but if you said to, like, a friend...
They probably wouldn't know what one was, because I only found out what one was when I was
This is what I'm
researching this.
asking.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean we can't bring them back with that name.
Oh, I'm saying bring it back. Also, in Canada, sorry for the jibber jabbers about how great Canada is. It's a country. It exists. Tim Hortons, famous donut chain, they used to do bread bowls. Well, they kind of do them like seasonally. I don't know if they still do them. But so you'd get like chili in a bread bowl.
Okay, yeah.
Or like your soup in a bread bowl.
Not donuts.
Why would you put a donut in a bread bowl?
You said it was a donut place.
Yeah, but they sell other things.
Okay, fine.
They have like a whole variety of wonderful like breakfast sandwiches and bagels and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But you can get bread bowls there. That's the key point of this. Love a bread bowl.
Okay, so...
You look like a monster, though, when you're eating it and you're on like a work, like you're trying to be professional, but you also want to like eat your bread bowl.
Yeah, there are definitely problems with them, but those are things that are worth dealing with for the brilliance of a bread bowl or a trencher.
A trencher. Is a trencher kind of like a pizza base, but like without any?
No, a lot thicker than that, I think. So what we're saying is that no to bread sauce on the island, but if possible, we would like to eat our food on the island off of bread plates.
Agreed.
Okay. That's all the time we have for this week.
Aren't you disappointed?
Well, it's Christmas time. We should probably wish the listeners a very happy Christmas.
We've got more episodes coming out.
I know, but
we're not going anywhere.
We should say it on all of them.
We're not like these lazy layabout podcasters who aren't making content.
Taking Christmas off. No. That's it. Don't forget to get in touch with us, even if it's just to wish us happy Christmas, really.
Yes, or to tell John Lyons that you really like his theme tune.
Like his theme tune. We are Desert Island Dip on Twitter. We are Desert Island Dips on Facebook and Instagram. And the email address is desertislanddips@gmail.com.
Got some fascinating stuff in the email.
Yeah?
I mean, a 20% off coupon to a meat place.
Oh, so condiment related, vaguely.
Well, I've been using...
How did they get the email address?
I've been using it to get the...
To get coupons and stuff.
Yeah. To get, like, you know, the first time
signing up.
I've used it before.
Free trial.
Yeah. I used my regular email address before. I figured, hey, I'll take a punt on the Desert Island Dips.
Has Desert Island Dips got a free month of Amazon Prime?
It could do.
Never thought about that. I'm a bit annoyed. Right. Thank you very much for listening. We will see you next time.
I'm sorry.